3 hams will certainly kill him. 3 hams.
Hello, and welcome to the Catboy Rants. Sorry I haven't been doing this for the last couple of weeks. To let you know what was going on, I had been having some pressure on my chest. Didn't know if it was a heart attack and waiting to happen or what was happening. But went to the doctor's office, took tests, found out that I'm doing all right. Just thought that it was something that might have been high blood pressure, anxiety, something like that. But everything turned out all right. Could still be just stress. So I'm all right. I'm here. Same thing, we had an issue with my car, which caused some more stress to it. So from now on, we're going to try to keep everything nice and calm, nice and mellow, to try to get everything going. I've kind of changed my eating habits. So no longer the salty foods, no more the energy drinks at night, more tea, more juice, more milk. Snacks will be carrots and vegetables and fruits that are good for me. So hopefully what you'll see is a shrinking man coming to soon. The other thing I'd like to talk about, and I know I've kind of been going off on this, is Big O number 2, Big O Part 2. As a lot of people call it, they also call it the second half of Big O, which turned from Big O, the giant mecha anime, to Big O, what the fuck is going on? I kind of think of it like the end of Eva, Death and Rebirth, where you see Shinji sitting in the chair, contemplating, people are talking at him, yelling at him. I've actually got that on VHS. My brother got it for me. However, he got it subtitled, which I'm fine with. But one of the things I hate in the world is just reading it, where Shinji's just sitting there and you just see subtitles of everything that's going on. Now, I'm not saying that subtitle anime is bad. I like subtitle anime. In fact, I would rather have subtitle anime than dubbed anime. However, there are some anime that I like dubbed. Big O, I like it dubbed. I've actually heard it subtitled. That sounds stupid. I've heard it in Japanese, read it subtitled. The biggest thing it got to me was I got to watch a little clip from Japan of Big O, which was awesome. A bunch of friends of mine at WSU Anime Club, we thought it was just freaking awesome because we'd be able to hear what Roger Smith sounds like in his Japanese voice. We would hear what Dorothy sounds like in her Japanese voice. Because one of the things you find on the DVDs that you find in America of Big O is they don't have a Japanese soundtrack. There is no subtitles. It's all dubbed. But the Big O that we found, it was a promo disc that we got from the Japanese club, which was awesome. This is the only thing we really bought from them because it was the only thing anime related. And we took it back, showed it at a club meeting, and we were so stoked. However, it's all narration except for one thing. Now, a lot of you may ask, what does the phrase Big O, it's showtime? Because Roger Smith says it all the time. And it'd be wonderful to hear how it's said in Japanese. You want to know how it's said in Japanese? All it goes and says is, Big O, it's a showtime! I'm not fucking kidding. Me and my buddy sat there and watched this entire promo video for 30 minutes that highlights the first season. It doesn't give any spoilers away, which is good, but it goes over the whole first season. And at the very end, it talks about Big O and Roger Smith. And none of this is subtitled. None of it was subtitled at all. It's pure Japanese. Raw Japanese. And we're sitting there, and all of a sudden we see him reach up, go like this. We're like, oh, fuck yeah, we're going to hear him say it. Go and say it, man. That way we know what it says like in Japanese. And he goes, Big O, it's showtime! That's when we turned off the video, set it down, and decided not to watch Big O. Now, I will say, I'm a big fan of Big O, the first season. It's the epitome of a mystery / big robot film. You get Roger Smith, who is a negotiator. He goes to people and acts as a mediator and negotiator between these two people to find a way around your conflict. You're a very good idea. However, as we go through, we find a little bit more about him. There's the whole idea of everybody losing their memories, how the memories are coming back, how certain things from other people's point of view is starting to come into light, how certain people are getting their memories back. Certain people who should not be getting these memories from 40 years ago are getting memories from 40 years ago back. 20-year-olds are remembering things that 40-year-olds and 80-year-olds should know. And you're kind of wondering, why is this happening? And by the end of the first season, you still don't have any answers. You don't. You find the underground city where another Big is there, and it said it's full of memories. Nobody knows why there's a city there. There is the battle between Schwarzwald and Roger with another Big. Again, no information on what's going on there. There's Beck, who's getting more information back. I mean, it's just insane. But it keeps the viewer interested. It's not until we get to the final episode where Roger Smith has a little of the first season, the final episode of the first season, which leads into the first episode of the second season, which he has a question of who he is, what he should be doing, and if he's worthy enough to pilot Big O. And he has this just as three Bigs show up. And by the end of that episode, he has the conviction to fight the Bigs. And that's how it leads into the first episode of the second season. Now, I won't make you think that I didn't watch this whole series again. I did. I made sure not to watch it with my wife because she saw me when I watched the first episode and how much I just was not wanting to go through it again. Not to say I don't like Big O. I love Big O Season 1. Season 2, totally different side of the coin. Season 2, you've got... Let's go to the first episode. First episode starts out with Roger Smith ready to fight the Bigs, just as it started from ended in Season 1. He goes in to fight the Bigs when all of a sudden around him are tomatoes. Now this is brought up many times in the previous series where the tomatoes are a symbol for himself. That maybe, and it's implied that maybe there's been a group of children who have been cloned or created for this world without memories. And that maybe that tomato is Roger Smith. Is there anything different between himself and a tomato? Now, not in the whole saying that he is a tomato, but when you look at a bunch of tomatoes, is there any difference between one to the other? My farmer friends will say, yes, you're an idiot. Those of you who are not my farmer friends would be like, no, it's a frickin' tomato. But he wonders. And because of that, and because of the will behind the Bigs, he goes through what I would like to call the flashback. and that's all the first episode is this flashback into a world of no bigs. He wakes up, the watch he has is gone. I mean, it's still there, but it doesn't have the mechanism in the middle. There's no bigs. Beck, the villain, is a person who runs the bank, which actually Roger Smith used to live in the other world. Nobody knows who he is. Dorothy Wainwright is human. Her father from the very first episode is there, and he's human. Everything's fine. I mean, it's like, it's a wonderful life, if only it's the fact that he was never there. Except for he was there. Towards the very end of the episode, after you're thinking that, okay, maybe, and this is the thing I would have loved if they would have done, because it's a whole question of self. Is he Roger Smith? Is everything he did, everything he is, real? And that's a question a lot of us have to ask ourselves. A good question. Are we real? And if they would have left it at that and had him decide he was indeed real without any outside influence, perfect opening for an episode where we were going into this tangent of Big O. But that's not how it fucking happens. Angel shows up, says he's a commander, and that he's there to pilot the Big. And from there, it just spins off that he is Roger Smith. There's even a little scene where it's cut out to a theater, which Roger Smith, in blackface. And again, if they would have done this without Angel coming in and saying, "You are Roger Smith," this would have been a great episode showing a man coming to terms with himself. But they had to piss on all over it. So, that's what's wrong with the first episode. Because at the very end, he realizes, I am Roger Smith. That's Dorothy Wainwright. This is the Big O. I'm going to kick some ass. And you don't even really get to see much of the fight. I mean, you get to see at the very beginning, Big O's arm gets torn off, but most of the fight happens towards the very end, and it's very quick. So, and then that leads into the past episode 1. I do have to let you know, I keep this on the bottom shelf in my CDs. Just because I don't like season 2. I really don't. I mean, beyond a few episodes, beyond the episode where Beck and Beck's team and Big O fight in the giant robot made of different other designs, kind of like Voltron or even Power Rangers, where they had three actual vehicles merge into one big, which was a good idea. I don't know how Beck got the ideas how to do this. I mean, like I said, this is something, and they let us remind us this all the time, that this is 40 years ago, that all the shit that happened, like the memories being lost, that's when it happened. It was 40 years ago. Beck doesn't look 40 years old. He looks at the most maybe 35. I could be wrong. This could be one of those things where a 50-year-old man looks as good as a 20-year-old and an 80-year-old woman looks as good as a 90-year-old woman. I don't know. What I do know is there's a few episodes I like. And there's a lot of episodes I don't like. Just because in the second season, they throw in a lot of symbolism. A lot of symbolism. And I'm only going to touch on a few things, really. One, there's an episode where a lot of people get together and they wake up in the middle of the night. They get together with one person who has a red balloon. Now, if you remember from the last time we did this, there was Sergeant Dawson, or General, whatever, the policeman Dawson. He had the dream of the woman and the movie. And the episode that he had that dream in, the same thing happened. but he remembered being a little boy sitting in a theater with a little girl who had a red balloon, and they watched the movie together. In one of the episodes, he's walking away from a crime scene, and he looks over, and there's a little boy, and a little girl, a little boy who looks like himself as a little boy, and a little girl with a red balloon walking into a theater that is playing the movie of his childhood. Wonderful symbolism with that. I mean, I love that right there. However, this episodes that a lot of these go in don't really play out that much. I mean, there's a few characters. The leader of the, I'm going to call them the Resistance, show up. She is eventually killed off. There is a guy who looks like the Joker, only not funny. You can't see his eyes. I mean, even when he doesn't have the hat all the way on, it looks like he's got something covering his eyes. He's got a mechanical hand, which they never explain who the hell this guy is, what he's doing, who he works for, because he works back and forth with a lot of different people. They just never explain it. And if this was season 1, I'd go with it. Just because we know that season 1, it would be, we don't know who this is, we're going to get to a big O, it's showtime, boom, up, fight, done. Everything's cleared up at the end. But it's not. I mean, there's a few of them that are like that. There's an episode, it's the second episode of season 2, where a woman comes to talk to him to find her son, who is dead. But it turns out he's not dead. It's actually, he was almost killed by a group of cops. They threw him in the water, he found a big, and now he's taking out his revenge on them. That's the big thing with it. It's called negotiating with the dead. And there's Leviathan. I mean, there's not a lot of real. I mean, if they would have taken the time with season, like what they did with season 1, they didn't really explain a lot of things, but they left it open for interpretation. Season 2 basically says, remember that thing, the scene with the tomatoes? Yeah, everybody's a tomato. And you're sitting there going, you know, if this is geared towards kids, especially since it played on Adult Swim and Toonami, okay? Toonami, when I was growing up, was the show you watched after school. You came home. Now, a lot of you are thinking, wait a minute. Middle school? And I said, no, high school. Yes, I was one of those kids that came home from school, had all my homework done, and then watched Toonami. Why? We had fucking Inuyasha, Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, Big O, Outlaw Star. We had that shit that was cool. On some little notes, yeah, we had Gundam G, we had Gundam Wing. Gundam Wing I like, okay. I wish they played War in the Pocket, but they had all these shows that you would never see anywhere else, because at the time, anime was in its infancy of acceptance to America. I mean, yes, you're going to say, well, what about in the 80s where there was manga entertainment? Well, no. I'm talking about kids being able to go ahead and go home and say, this is what I'm watching. Actually have it on TV that it's not a cable access show at 10 o'clock at night on a Sunday. No, I'm talking about that, man. I'm talking about being able to go home. I mean, kids nowadays, they turn on TV and they're watching an anime. Now, it may be a bastardized American version of anime, but fuck it, it's still an anime. When I was growing up, we didn't have that. It wasn't until they came out with Toonami, Tenchi Muyo. Shit, we had all these shows that came on with Toonami. And it was freaking glorious. Yes, they threw in Thundercats. For those of us who did not grow up with Thundercats, they threw in Thundercats. It was awesome. I did not like Season 2 of Big O. And the biggest letdown, I will tell you, the fucking biggest letdown is the final fight between Big O and the other Big. Angel is there. It turns out that she is an heir of the main family who basically owns the domes. The other one who's there is, I would think, her brother, who is who got all the bigs together, got Big Foul all put together, and he and Roger fight. And it would be awesome if I could just say it was a battle for the ages, but it wasn't. Yes, there were some cool scenes. One of the scenes was you find out Big O he's tapped out. He can't do anything else until the control panel that he's at is like this, and he just fights like this, and there's controls here. Well, then that flips up and comes back up with a little joystick with a button. And those of us know what a button does. We know push the button, it does something. Well, when that happens, a huge gun appears out of Big O's chest. You know that little nubbin, that little gray nubbin on Big O? It's probably not on here. No, it's not. There's a picture of a little gray piece right here. That extends out. It comes up. This turns out into a huge fucking cannon. It takes a while to collect the energy, but nothing can hit him while it does it because it makes up its own force field. He shoots, takes out most of Big Foul, but it's still operational. Big O isn't, because that used up all of his energy. He can't fight anymore. So, if this was the epitome of like any other show, you would know that this would be the turning point of the middle of the season. But you can't do that because, fuck it, this is episode 13. This is the last episode. There wasn't a third season. And he's standing there when all of a sudden another big shows up, but this one's bigger than the other, and it looks like it went through a negative bath. I mean, what everything else is black, it is white. What is white, white is black. Just a total negative image Big comes up, and it looks like it's got a skull for a head. I mean, it's almost like Big O. It's got the little crest here, that little crest right there, but it's got a skull face. And every step it takes, it nullifies whatever's there. And when I mean nullify, it's basically like you're in the holodeck and you're going in with a magic, a white cloth and just going like this and wiping everything out of existence. That's what it's doing. Every step it takes, everything's gone. And what I mean with the holodeck, I mean it. The lines, the grid pattern on the walls are there. You see, you see walls, you see a ceiling, and it's freaking everybody out. It steps past Big Foul. Big Foul ceases to exist. Not in the screaming, just... When it finally gets to Roger Smith is there, gets out of Big O, says that he's Roger Smith, and you see that he's on television. Angel has been hooked up, those scars on her back. She's got 2 pairs of scars, which you think, okay, Angel, because she had wings at one point. No. The reason she's got the scars is all these scars are covering up connector points for a TV system, a monitoring system. And he goes up there, he says his line, and we get the first scene from the first episode of season 1. Now, I like that, but it could have been done in a different way. I'm one of those people who like the fuck you kind of things. This was kind of like a fuck you. Everything that he did really didn't matter. I mean, it was going to reset. But you kind of wonder, how many times did this reset? Now, I've got problems with the ending. Because I wanted to see a better fight. I wanted to see Big O and Big Foul fight it out until one was just dead. Or Big O's got like missing half its body, fighting with one arm, punching away. You know, I know I'm kind of bringing up scenes from like Dark Side of the Moon, Transformers, but you know, that's what I mean. You know, but that didn't happen. And all the questions we had of what happened 40 years ago. Did that actually happen, or did they make that up? What about all those people that have memories of shit that happened between 40 years ago and the point we see Roger the Negotiator? What happened? I want to fucking know! And I'm glad they didn't have a third fucking season, because if they had a third fucking season, we'd be seeing that shit again. And I've already went over with that shit with season 2 of Haruhi Suzumiya. Because all that is for like 8 episodes is the same episode over and over and over and over again, just played out differently because they're stuck in a time loop. Sorry, spoilers, but nobody told me that. I watched every episode thinking maybe they'll have a different thing, and it almost works. No! Now watch it. It's a good show, and I like how everything goes through. But you know, but that's why it took me so long to do season 2 of Big O. I'm not a big fan, as you may have guessed. I've got lots of other anime that I like to watch more. I've got a lot of regular movies I'd like to watch more. Hell, there's shows on Netflix I'd rather watch more. But I said I'd do it, and I did it. Now, for those of you out there that are looking and seeing and asking, should we watch it? Yeah, watch it. Now, I'm saying this because, honestly, any anime that's out there, you should definitely watch. Be it good or bad, you should definitely watch it. This is just a different anime. Watch it. Get as much information on anime as you can in it. I've got some anime that is just absolutely horrible. I've got some anime that I absolutely love. I've got some anime I haven't watched all the way through because I get to a certain point and I can't watch anymore. It makes me physically want to throw something. But watch it. I've got a little bit more. I know I'm running out of tape, so be right back. Excuse me for a moment, I'm just... Oh, I am a fucking genius. All bowed down before me. I am the man. The legend continues. Okay, sorry about that. In fact, I'll just edit that out. Sorry, very happy. As I was saying, there's a lot of anime out there that I recommend for a lot of people to watch, and then I recommend not to watch it. But really, when I say that, I say, still, you should really watch it. I'm going to bring a few up, just to show you. And just to let you know, I have these back here for a reason. It's for, if I want to watch it, I've got it. If I don't want to watch it, I still got it. And I just grabbed 4 for the sake of it. First one I want to bring up is Popotan. If you haven't seen it, I do recommend it. It is a very heartwarming series. And explains a few things. But again, very heartwarming. I just absolutely love it. And if you're wondering why I got it, I just got it because it's an anime, it was something I didn't have, and it was super cheap. Another one, Miami Guns. The reason I got this is because actually a friend of mine had actually recommended to watch it. And I gotta say, it's actually freaking funny. Just watch it. I won't say too much. It's actually, I hope it takes place in Miami. I really hope they don't, people in Japan don't think Miami's like that, because basically think of Lethal Weapon, Die Hard, any big buddy cop movie and gritty cop movie. That's what they put into it. So I really hope they don't think that's what we are. This is one of the movies that I have not seen all the way through, and the very good reason why I haven't is because every time I put it in my DVD player, for some reason it just doesn't hold my interest. Now, a lot of you are going to say, well, you don't like Gonagi. Hey, I've got all the Cutie Honey Flash, and I've got a copy of the original, of the live-action Cutie Honey sitting over there with a inside the actual tin, the lunchbox tin. So you can't say I don't like it. I do like it. I even got Devilman, but for some reason it won't play very well in my DVD player. So it means that when I get a Blu-ray player, I'm watching that shit. Demon Lord Dante. Again, haven't seen it a lot. I'm not a big fan of anything that really basically says Demon Lord or anything like that. And it's a one-shot, so yeah. This is one that if you're watching, if you watched Bennett the Sage over on Blip or on That Guy with the Glasses, you'll see that he actually did a little video for this, 8 Man After. So I won't go over it that much. Just that when he went over it, yeah, there's a lot of things wrong with it. I did not watch the original cartoon that it's based off of. Well, actually, sequel of. But I actually like it. It's one of my... Everybody has those animes that they know that is just crap, but they like watching them, you know? I mean, that is one of my favorites, just to sit down. I mean, it was straight from the Sci-Fi's Saturday anime block that happened either in the morning, or as later on it was Anime Mondays, which they'd show that too. And it was just that wonderful thing for a lot of us to watch. And it's what I grew up on. I'm sorry to say. I remember watching that on KEBB, Channel 60. It's no longer, that channel is no longer there since now everything's digital. I mean, it wasn't even there when it was still, it was there until I was about 15 years old, then it was gone. It was also my first time I ever got to watch MST3K, but it was on a black and white TV with the rabbit ears, and you had to adjust it a certain way, and it was still really fuzzy. So, yeah. It's also where I got to see Ghost in the Shell for the first time, The Dirty Pair for the first time, and for those of you who are wondering, and I'm going to bring it over here just because I've got it, and a lot of you are going to say, why does he have that show? I've got it because I actually really liked it. The first one. I didn't get to watch the rest of it, and I still haven't, even though, of course, I've got the full series. Hey, where the hell is it? This is another bad thing about having a lot of anime. You say you have it, and then someone says prove it. You can't really prove it because you can't find it. And then once they're gone, you find it. It's called Robotech the Movie. And now my brain is gone. Anyways. It basically was one of those movies that it was wonderful, and I thought the ending for it went like this. He had just finished fighting there it is. Megazone 2-3. Gotta get it out. There we go. Megazone 2-3, complete box set, including Megazone 2-3 mouse pad. I will never ever use that mouse pad, but it goes in here. But Megazone 2-3, I've seen part 1, I have not seen part 2, and I have not seen part 3. One of these days I'm going to have a big old Megazone 2-3 day, probably a day when I have off and I have nothing to do. Granted, I always have something to do, but if I have nothing to do, I'll watch it. But Megazone 2-3, You know, in fact, I'm gonna do a little video about it. You know what? Part 1 next week. Megazone 2-3 Part 1. Be ready for it. Till next time. I know this is kind of abrupt. Till next time. Have a good week. And I want to let you know this is actually being taped on the 4th of July. So those of you in America, you might have seen I'm in blue shorts, red and white shirt. So those in America, happy 4th of July. Please don't blow up your hands. Don't blow up your face. Don't blow up your legs. Be safe. Don't do anything stupid. Okay? See y'all later.
Time for go to bed.